and breathe. That was a ridiculous match of football. That was crazy. It definitely was not good for your BP, especially if you are a Kule. I mean, it probably also wasn't too good if you were a hater, a Madridista, just watching and waiting for Barcelona to catch an L. It didn't happen this time around, but man, did Barcelona try their best to catch an L in this one? Because you know what? I just don't know why this team always has to do this sometimes, Was it really necessary to go 2 goals down, guys? Hansi, huh? Guys, was it really necessary to be 2-0 down in this match? It wasn't. But of course, Barcelona in this game ended up relying on some just moments of individual brilliance from Lamine Yamal, who somehow walked away with just the 1 goal tonight. I mean, man, we talk about the fact that he needs to improve his finishing, but whew, some of those, when he's hitting the post and hitting the crossbar and whatnot, so unlucky. He really should have had a hat trick in this one, just like Denzel Dumfries should have had a hat trick, which shouldn't be too surprising considering the fact that, Barcelona started this game with Gerard Martin at left back, and, like Gerard Martin, no disrespect to the guy, he's good enough for certain types of matches, but this is just not one of those. And hey, you know what? That's fine because I know just which match he's going to be perfect for. And we'll talk about all of that in just a few moments. But this is a match review, so I'm going to do the typical match review stuff. I'm going to talk very quickly about the negatives and positives from this performance, as well as give a team rating, manager rating, and the man of the match as I saw it. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you stay here. We just recently hit 10K, and I'm still buzzing about that. And I was really hoping that Barcelona could add to the Copa del Rey sauce that we saw on the weekend. They could add to that one with a win here against Inter, but hey, didn't happen. So let's go straight and talk about the negatives because there were quite a few in this one, most of which had to do, I think, with just the starting selection. Now, the best way to probably put this is to just say that Inzaghi got the better of Hansi Flick tactically. I think that shows for starters from the starting 11s that were put out here by both teams. And it shows, of course, from what unfolded and just how long it took Hansi Flick, I thought, to make some subs that were pretty much crucial in this game. Whether it was the subs to, make that defense at least be, proper, if I can put it that way, and also the subs to put more energy, more legs in that midfield, because I felt from about the 60th minute, round about 65th minute to about the 80th minute, Barcelona's midfield really lost its legs, and Inter were a bit comfortable, more comfortable than you would have liked them to be, because the legs just weren't there for Barcelona to win the ball off on a high press. So, that's the first thing which I would probably put up there as the negatives. The second one is just like, some bad individual performances I felt in this game. And of course, you'd be not surprised to find out that they happened to come on the defensive side of the pitch for Barcelona. I felt that in this game, Szczesny should have done way better than he did. It's been a while since I've tried to blame him for Barcelona not getting a win. And I feel this is one game in particular where really he really does shoulder a lot of the blame for Barca not getting this win over the line. And just, Barca's poor defending of set pieces. Once again, it's a clutch moment. Once again, it's a big game in Barcelona, conceding very easily from a corner kick. Both of Denzel Dumfries' goals came from corners. At what point do you realize that you should probably put somebody, touch tight on Denzel Dumfries, right? He's a big lad after all, so why was Danny Olmo the one marking him for that second goal that he scored? The second goal, which, again, like I said, Szczesny could have done much better with, went down a bit too easily. And, anyway, just generally when a shot goes in through the, it was the trajectory of the shot was right in the middle of the goal and it goes in and it doesn't have particularly a lot of power on it, you're always going to look at the goalkeeper in situations like that. So those are my negatives, but hey, we also did have some positives here, because the general nature of this game is that it can be best summed up as the unstoppable force coming up against the immovable object. The unstoppable force in this case had been Barcelona's forward line, Barcelona's attack, and the immovable object being Inter Milan's defense, because they got this far primarily because of that defense. In the group stage, they only considered, was it 1 or 2 goals the entire group stage? And, since then, they only conceded about maybe 3 or 4 in the knockout stages. And the fact that Barcelona was able to score 3 in just one game as compared to the 3 that Inter conceded in, the round of 16 and the quarterfinal, over 4 other matches, you almost equaled what they considered there. That was pretty good. So one of my positives is definitely Barcelona's attack. Though I felt in this case, Barca, they reminded me a bit too much of Real Madrid in this game. If I'm going to be honest, relying on individual brilliance to get them across the line, because each and every one of Barca's goals is really just about that. With maybe, okay, fine, you could put the second goal as a bit of an exception because there was a bit of some lock picking involved there from Pedri with that gorgeous pass over the top to Rafinha. But, you look at the Yamal goal, you look at the third goal, which was, an own goal by Jan Sommer, but, forced very much by a long shot by Rafinha. And you can't just help but wonder, hey, is this team starting to rely on individual brilliance when they cannot outplay the opponent, and it's not too much of a good look. But then again, Inter was always going to be the type of opposition that was going to force Barcelona into that kind of a situation. One thing, though, that I would highlight here is that for me, I think Barcelona should have been taking a lot more long shots in this game. I mean, it's a pretty obvious tactic, right? If Inter are going to sit deep and be organized with those 2 banks in front of their goal, then you want to start taking more long shots. You've got shooters on this Barcelona team. You've got Dani Olmo, you've got Rafinha, and you saw from Pedri as well that he does have a decent long shot on him. So, take advantage of that. Those long shots are going to cause the, first bank of Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, and Barella to try and push up. And once they do that, then now you've got spaces in between them and the midfield, which, a Ferran Torres, a Dani Olmo can take advantage of. Even Lamine Yamal drifting infield can take advantage of those spots. So, I felt that there were a lot of things that Hansi Flick could have done differently in this game, and he just didn't do them. So just look at me now. I'm going from talking to positives to talking negatives again, because that's one more thing that Hansi Flick should have done with his tactics. And of course, you just have to say the final positive in this case, man, it has to be the fighting spirit. It's there. Okay? It's definitely there. We know that it wasn't there too much, it wasn't there enough, we'll put it that way. It wasn't there too much during Xavi's reign, because in the Xavi era, it was always about getting out ahead of the opponent, outplaying the opponent, dominating the opponent, controlling them. So when you had those early goals conceded, where you have no control over the opponent, it kind of used to, or just fall to shit. So it was good to see that Barcelona was able to fight back and to take control of the match. Somewhat, because this is a match that honestly just lacked those elements of control. And hopefully, what I hope Hansi Flick can do for the next game is going to start with, I guess, we'll start by talking Valladolid, because Valladolid is up next for FC Barcelona. So I'm going to just quickly, right here in the match review, do a preview for Valladolid, because this is what I think Hansi Flick should do against Valladolid, to have this Barcelona team at least playing at its best, right? Because, hey, Remember, we lost Jules Koundé in this game. And you know why we lost Jules Koundé? Because the dude has played literally every game for Barca except Mallorca. He's basically started in every game. Hansi Flick has not wanted to rest this dude, despite the fact that we have a perfectly fine backup in Hector Fort on the bench. Why are you not playing Hector Fort? So here's what you're going to do against Valladolid. Number one, you are playing Hector Fort. Hector Fort, right back. Left back is Gerard Martin. I don't expect to see Gerard Martin starting in Milan. That's why I think let him play the 90 minutes against Valladolid. At centre back, I want to see Christensen and Araujo. They do kind of already know each other. They should be more than good enough to handle Valladolid's attack. And like I said, you're going to give some valuable minutes to Christensen and to Araujo as well, because he doesn't get that many minutes these days. Then from there, we're going to move to midfield. I do not want to see Frenkie de Jong or Pedri anywhere near this starting 11 for Valladolid. They shouldn't even travel with the Barcelona squad. Leave these brothers behind in Barcelona. In fact, let them travel ahead to Milan. Okay? Do not play Pedri and Frenkie de Jong against Valladolid. Instead, give me a double pivot of Gavi and Fermin Lopez. A lot of fire in that midfield, a lot of tough tackling, a lot of creativity, and once in a while you're going to get a long shot from that midfield as well. That should be good enough to handle Valladolid, because ahead of them, I also want to see Pablo Torre, because guess what? Pablo Torre for Barcelona is like, to help some, maybe say Madrid fans get an idea. Pablo Torre for Barca is like Ada Güler for Real Madrid. Why? Because when this kid gets minutes, he does good things. He has done good things. The coach doesn't play him after that. And you wonder why. But also because he is Barca's best player on set pieces. We've heard this so many times from so many of Barcelona's own players. Szczesny said it, Yamal said it, Rafinha said it, and I think Pedri as well might have said it, that, Pablo Torre is the best player when it comes to set pieces. And, you're going to need set pieces if you're going to be scoring goals in matches like this one against Inter, because guess what? You did get some promising positions with set pieces, but you were not able to do anything with them. So you know what? Play this kid against Valladolid. Let him play the 90 minutes, because we know you're not going to play him against Inter, Mr. Flick. And then at left wing, we can have Ansu Fati play there. Again, give him another start. Give him the 90 minutes, because we know you're not going to play him against Milan. And on the right wing, I want to see Pau Victor, because he can play there. And he's played there before for Barca B. So put Pau Victor, right wing. Then you can start Ferran Torres. It's okay. You can sub him off at about halftime and then throw on Rafinha, and Pau Victor rotates to the middle. That's what Barcelona should do against Valladolid. And that was my very quick fire match preview inside the match review for this crazy match against Inter, because I feel that Barca are going to need to think outside the box to beat Inter, because Inter really is Atleti Pro Max. In this case, with the matches we've seen Barca and Atleti have. Moving on from that, let's talk team ratings and manager rating. And the way I work, I don't like singling out players. So what would just happen is that if there were some players who were really bad and some players who were really good, it's just going to lead to the team rating being average. So, it'll be right in the middle. It's pretty obvious to anyone who had eyes that Lamine Yamal was out of this world in this game. It's also pretty obvious to anyone who had eyes that Gerard Martin really struggled in this game, and Szczesny didn't cover himself in glory either. 3 shots faced, 3 goals. That's like some Ter Stegen stats, So because of that, the overall team rating here is going to be a 6 out of 10, and I was a bit generous with that one. As for Hansi Flick, I gave him a 5 out of 10, just because I think that in terms of the, tactical battle that was going on off the pitch, Hansi Flick lost comfortably here to Simone Inzaghi. And, Inter could have very easily walked away with the 4-3 win here. We saw that goal that was ruled out for offside, the 4th one. It was really the most marginal margins you will ever see. So, Hansi Flick here definitely was outthought, and I think outcoached by Inzaghi. So 5 out of 10 for him. And of course, we're just left with the man of the match, who, of course, I don't have to tell you, in my opinion, was Lamine Yamal. I know some people are going to think, well, Denzel Dumfries scored twice and whatnot. And I think, yeah, sure, you could have him. But over the course of 90 minutes, I think Yamal had way more impact on this game, especially after his goal. He had way more impact on the proceedings in the match than Dumfries did. I mean, Dumfries just scored from 2 corners and, he was giving Barcelona some headaches. But he got subbed off. He didn't play the 90 minutes. Yamal did. So Yamal was the man of the match. Anywho, let me know your thoughts on that performance, on that match, on that result. What do you think Barca should do, especially with that Valladolid match just coming this Saturday? We're now into the early hours of Thursday, I believe, and Barca will be playing on Saturday, which is absolutely crazy. I don't know why La Liga just couldn't shift this match to the other week after Barcelona has played. But hey, we all know that La Liga's president is a Real Madrid fan, so that explains a lot. Anywho, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.